So at least counsel and tell me that, this is not nothing to lie about. So I was able to see it. It was really something to see. I have explained what happened, but then I got to look at my audience and find out, can they understand what I'm talking about? Do you think I'm here to try to put on a show for their benefit? No, I'm just saying what happened. And it was the results of his prayers. But something did happen, that I was saying prayers, Surah Al-Fatiha. And in that Surah Al-Fatiha, Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, Sirat al-Lazina an'amta alayhim. Then it became so plain. What are you praying for? Are you praying to be drugged up and down the street like Hadhrat? Are you praying to wait in line for someone to cut your throat? So this is what you're praying. So then I became so frightened in that dream, in that recitation, so I stopped praying. I stopped praying at that time. So I told this incident to the Khalifatul Sahib. He said, oh, that. So then he told me to pray this. He gave me a prayer to pray. Now that prayer I've been praying ever since that time. And never have I had that fearful feeling when you actually praying to be guided on the right path. And what path is that? On those who have shouted their blessed. Who are they? The prophets, the martyrs. I mean, you're praying to actually go through these ordeals. And some of these ordeals that what we read about is really bone shatters, make you tremble, because it's a reality. And when you know that you have to be counted amongst them, you want to know what can I do to get that blessing but not do that thing. But that becomes a problem. Anyway, he called up the prayer. I praying up to this time, and never have I had any. So if someone said, what is that? What you want to say? Pray for whatever you want to pray for you, and I'll give it to you. If it's good for you, okay. Other than that, you don't have to just go back for nothing. First tell what we got east, and then maybe questions come later.
But the food is ready.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, Hajj Rashid. Could you elaborate in terms of what the second Khalifa said in reference to the partition when Pakistan came into existence?
Yeah. Actually, I had a very deep conversation about that, and it was so deep until that something he told me, and it was so shocking to hear it from him. And that is what then I learned later. He gave me another lesson. And that lesson was, don't say anything that you cannot prove. I came and had a very difficult chance. I reported to Khalifatul. He says to me, don't say anything that you cannot prove. I gave him and so I could tell you about that, but it's something that is to happen. And you cannot prove what is to happen unless it have happened. So now, the reason why I had that lesson was, number one, I gave him a report. To me, I'm a very simple man. I didn't know the politics. We have in this organization politics. What can be defined as politics, Officers elected and someone who wants to work with him, someone who don't want to work with him, someone to make his job easier, someone to say, this is politics, So now, I told him a story that was told to me. told me, yeah, okay, then I should make some inquiry and find out about the story I told him. Now, one person who heard me tell the story, he told me, he's very he was a very pious person, been with the Khalifatul, he had a victim. He was one of the leading figures in the Jamaat. So he told me, Rashid, what you do, you take someone with you, go back to that person who told you that story, so you have a person to witness that he said that. But I said, oh, you know, I just, you know, the man told me that it was wrong or right, I just told him, to me it's all over. So now, that conversation we had in the mosque, this person who told me that, somebody went back and told him, said, Rashid told Khalifatul see that you said this, you said that. And then he wrote a letter to Khalifatul saying that, denying it. So the next day when the Khalifatul came, he came right to me and says to me that, who told you that story? So I told him. He said, but you didn't tell him that. That person wrote me a letter and says that he never told you that. I asked his sister, and his sister says, what you told me was altogether wrong. But I went on to say, well, no, Zul, I told him that. He told me when you tell the people to see you have did something, he said you didn't do it, and you said I did do it. You can't, you know, I mean, I don't know how you would act with other people. He said you did do that. I said no, Zul, I told you this here. He said you never told me that. So okay, then what did I do? I told him, Azul, that I will swear on the Holy Quran that this person told that. He said, what do you mean you swear on the Holy Quran? Allah did not reveal the Holy Quran for nobody to swear on it. Allah revealed the Holy Quran for somebody to act upon it, not to swear upon it. The Holy Quran is not sit. You become like all the rest of it. First they want to swear on the Holy Quran, now I'm telling the truth. Like they've been lying all the time, now you want to tell the truth now when you have the Holy Quran. All the time you've been lying. So now, where's my position? So now, there's no way I can prove that. He says no, and I said yes. So then he says to me, now we know one of these moments is a liar. So wisdom tells us, don't believe neither one. So now I'm there, who've been having this company all the time, and he have left people out there. Now he won't even, I say something like Mazur, and he act like he didn't see me. Keep on going. Something like Mazur, he just keep on going. So he said, now we know one of these moments is a liar. So we don't know which one is lying. So now this person who told me that story, he was both Muslims. He was a very pious person. He wasn't no one smoking cigarettes, sitting in his shop drinking tea. He was a very faithful person in his prayer. But he told it to me. Why he told me? But he told me. So now, it went on maybe about a month. Now I have now only out. Everybody's so smiling out. He's not saying nothing to she. So now that's what he needs. Now that's good for him now. So they're glad to know that now I'm in the distance. So on this particular occasion, that we were at a grave site, some person had died, Tennessee came to the grave site and said prayer. And then he says that, where's Mr. Rashid? Now, I must maybe about a block away, because when I was being rejected in this company, so I didn't even try to get in the company. So now I'm on the outside. Everybody's happy because I'm on the outside. So then they said that, where's Mr. Rashid? The Khalifatul Masih is calling it. And I heard it. And went out, where's Mr. Rashid? The Khalifatul Masih is calling it. Then I broke and run. He got back in the company and he looked at me and smiled.